set up here. Okay, good afternoon. Today is the 6th of July, 2011. I'm Daryl Peterson, a volunteer at the Palm Springs Air Museum here in Palm Springs, California. As part of the Veterans History Project of the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C., we conduct interviews of veterans and civilians who participated in our country's military conflicts. Today I'm here at the museum with Richard Curry, who was in the U.S. Navy during the Vietnamese conflict, and we're going to be talking to him about those experiences and a lot of other things also. So,
well,
nice.
Not the Vietnamese conflict.
Uh,
Other.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, other. Sorry about that. I heard someone else say that you were in Vietnam. Okay, so I'm going to move back to the camera here and get it adjusted, and we will start. You can start by telling us your full name and spelling it, and where you were born and when.
My full name is Richard Clarence Curry. Last name is C-U-R-R-Y. I was born in Forney, Texas in June 9th, 1962.
Okay. So can you tell us a little bit about your early years in Texas and what you remember of your school and where you went to school and so on?
Well, I went to school in Forney, from elementary school to middle school to high school. Graduated Forney in 1980.
Okay. Were you in sports or any other activities?
Played all sports, particularly baseball and football, but also played basketball and ran track.
Wow, so you were active.
Like to be outside, yeah.
Yeah, great. Well, tell us a little bit about your family. Where did they hail from? They've always lived in Texas, or what can you tell us about them?
The Curry family came to Texas in, I think it was 1875, settled around Waxahachie. My part of the Curry family moved to Ponder, Texas. That's where my dad, Justin, Texas, I'm sorry, met my mother from Ponder, Texas, which were two adjoining towns, just before World War II. They got married just after World War II.
Was he in World War II?
Yes.
Okay. What branch was he in?
He was in the Army. He was with the 1879th Aviation Engineering Battalion, based in Papua New Guinea and the Philippines.
Okay, so you saw some combat against the Japanese then?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and well, what do you know about your family? They came in 1870. When did they first settle in the United States, or where did they come from?
The Curry family came to the United States in the late 1700s, after the Revolutionary War.
Where'd they come from?
They came from Scotland, landed in Virginia,
Okay.
and spread mostly in the southern states from there.
Oh, okay. And how about your mother's family then? They were similar background, or?
My mother's family, maiden name is Durson. Came to Texas and settled in Texas in, I believe it was 1849 or 1850, right after the Mexican War. And they settled in and around San Antonio, Texas, prior to moving up to Ponder, Texas, which is just outside Fort Worth.
Okay. So you have quite a long heritage of people that lived in the United States.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Any brothers and sisters, or
Two brothers, one sister,
Okay. Older, younger?
all older.
Okay. So, tell us how you, well, what year did you graduate from high school then?
Graduated Forney High School in 1980.
Okay.
May of 1980, and then went to boot camp with the U.S. Navy in June of 1980.
Okay, so you enlisted, and what brought you to want to enlist, I guess, at that time? Had you thought of college, or?
I had thought of college, but I'd probably say I was going to be in the military when I was age 6.
Oh, you're interested in the military events, huh?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And how did you happen to focus on that at such an early age?
Well, that I can't answer. You know,
You just
I don't know.
wanted to be a soldier.
Yeah.
And Navy always, or just?
Yeah, pretty much. And I can't explain why. I don't. I have had family members in the Navy, but most of them were in the Army or Air Force.
Okay, so you wanted to see the world, huh?
I guess, yes.
Well, tell us how it went then after you joined up. Where were you sent? Where you were trained? What kind of training you got, and so on. It's a little bit different than the World War II guys that I've interviewed before. They
Right.
had a huge number of people going through training, but when you were going in, it was a little bit different, I guess. Not so many. The Army was or military was a lot smaller.
Right, and the military wasn't, it was on the, I guess, the shores of the Vietnam War were still largely open, so a lot of people didn't like military at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I went to boot camp in Orlando, went to my first specialty school, which was basic electricity and electronics, first half in Orlando, and then the second half of that in San Diego. After graduating, that was sent to Great Lakes, Illinois, for the true specialty courses, which I went to Mark 19 Gyro Compass School and Dynelec Telephone School, which is a rotary telephone communication system.
Okay, so how did they steer you into this particular specialty, or was it something that you particularly wanted to do? Or?
I wanted to do something technical just because I wanted to be able to find something when I got out of the Navy, something that would lend itself to a rewarding career, I guess.
Okay. So, you see what did you just specialize in this one instrument, or did they teach you various electronic stuff? There's so many electronic systems on there.
Interior communication as an electrician in the Navy is a very broad technical category. It handles all telephone systems, sound powered telephone systems, which we also did navigational equipment, alarm systems, and we had training in all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the special schools with the gyro compass and the PT 512 plotting table, that's more equipment specific. Later on, after I'd gotten to the Carl Vinson, they sent me to a new telephone system, which was the Western Electric or AT&T type, which is more modern, because they had just taken out the Dynelec system, and the ship hadn't even been commissioned yet. But that kind of gives you, as they design these ships, sometimes the equipment that goes in them, design-wise, is 30 or 40 years backdated, and then by the time they're coming out, they do things to update them. So.
Okay, so this was a new ship. I don't remember all the dates of the ships. So when did the Carl Vinson get commissioned then?
She was commissioned in 1982.
Okay, and you were like the first crew?
I was a plank owner. Yes.
Okay. I hadn't heard that.
You've never heard plank owner before?
Yeah, that's a new.
Yeah, a ship that's commissioned, you become a plank owner, and when it gets decommissioned, they will notify you, and you're supposed to be able to go back and pull something from the ship,
Oh, okay.
as long as it's not a weapon or.
All right. Wow, that's a new one on me. I hadn't heard that. So, what? Any particular experiences? Did you also work on the airplanes or just on the ship?
I was part of ship's crew. I wasn't part of the air wing. So,
Okay.
Although we worked on equipment all over the ship, including all the air wing stuff, we didn't work on airplanes particularly.
Okay.
Just everything supporting them.
Mm-hmm. And so, did you get to see the world then, and the various cruises that you went on?
I did. Our first cruise with the Carl Vinson was commissioned out of Norfolk, Virginia, out of Newport News Shipyard. The very first cruise, full cruise we went on, was a around the world cruise in 1983.
Mm-hmm. So you got to get some short leave to see various things?
If I remember correctly, we had 6 or 7 ports of call. My favorite would have been, we pulled into Monaco, and a friend and I took the train to Paris, France, and stayed for 6 days, and then came back.
Okay, well, that's a great experience. Well, let's see, the period you were in, 80 to 86, was pretty quiet as far as conflicts were concerned. Did you get into any scrapes that?
During that time, it was a lot of the Cold War tactics with Soviet airplanes and ships and submarines, and the U.S. Navy and our allies constantly playing games together or against each other. Soviet ships would come in too close and cut in front of a carrier's wake or use their wake to go in front of the carrier just to see how the carrier would react, and they would fly the Bear bombers near us to see how our fighters would go up and handle them and things of that nature.
And record all the electronic emissions and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, and I wouldn't remember the date other than sometime in 1983. We were sailing in the South China Sea with, I think it was the USS Eisenhower and USS either Midway or Coral Sea, and it was the first time since World War II 3 American aircraft carriers were in that area, including the Vietnam War. And Soviets didn't like that, so they scrambled all of their shore-based arms against this fleet that was in the water, well outside 200 miles of the coast, but they still claimed it as their coastal waters. So we went to battle stations for real, but we didn't go to battle, obviously. So,
did you? What was your particular battle station? Then you just had to be available to fix stuff
for them. Yeah, it changed. And when I was relatively new to the ship, my battle station was on the 03 level, and we handled the bridge structure in case of either a battle or any fire or anything like that, plane crash. But later, I think the last 3 years, my battle station was actually in the aft IC and gyro compass room, which was my regular workshop, which was probably the most protected area of the ship because it's in the center next to the reactors, and fairly safe place to be.
Yeah. So how many specialists have, similar to yours, how many guys were there in that specialty on the ship?
On an aircraft carrier, as far as IC-men, as we were called, if I remember correctly, I think we probably had 30 to 40 guys in the division that managed 3 workshops, I think that's pretty close to being accurate.
Busy all the time.
It's always busy.
Yeah, that was something to do. Okay. Any other experiences as you continued around the world?
You know, if I'd prepared myself more and written some of them down, yeah, there was a bunch, but not right now.
Yeah. Well, if something comes up, I just start talking. Well, I'd like to continue what you've been doing since you got out of the military. And did all that training pay off, and you get a job that you wanted? And
I did. I had been accepted to the University of Texas when I got out to finish school. I'd taken over 2 years worth of college in the Navy while I was in.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got out in the summer, a person that lived in Forney met my mother, who worked as a school tax assessor and collector, and she had my picture up on the wall.
Hmm.
And he was a Navy vet, so he asked that he worked for an electronics company in Dallas, and asked that if I'd give him a call. So I did, and they ended up offering me a job at that time that was more than I could have made if I'd gone to UT and graduated and with an engineering degree. So I was at this company called Maxtron for 16 plus years in the electronics manufacturing industry.
Okay. And what did they have a specialty of the kind of electronics they were making, or just really a broad scope?
Really a broad contract manufacturer of electronics, makes just about anything that somebody else designs. So we would make telephone equipment, medical equipment, defense-related equipment, computers. I mean, you name it. Whatever anybody brought us, we would make. Okay. And my part initially was handling the testing and that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. So did they do the design work for this equipment that they manufactured, or as a supplier, I guess, to somebody that requested it? But did they also design it, or did the other companies bring the design and ask you to build it?
Yeah, mostly it was the other companies would bring design. We would work with companies like Texas Instruments or Raytheon, or any of the big companies that have their own staffs of electrical engineers and design engineers. Okay. And they would come up with a design, then we'd work with them on designing it for manufacturability to be able to put it together. Okay. And then we would build the product, and if need be, test it and send it to them.
Mm-hmm. So are you still with that company?
No, I'm not. Oh. That industry went kaput basically after 9/11.
Really? I would think it would go the opposite.
Well, actually, the economy got so unsure after 9/11. Cisco Electronics here in California was one of our customers' biggest client. Mm-hmm. Cisco canceled their order with Ericsson, who was our biggest customer, and refused to pay them. Ericsson stalled on paying us, and we were a mid-sized manufacturer, and we couldn't go. When you're a $125 million company, and Ericsson makes up $100 million of that, and they're not paying, you have to start downsizing, and it just basically killed the company within a year.
So that it just went out of business altogether, or did somebody buy it out?
No, it went out altogether. Had to sell assets, and wow. Yeah, it was a public company, and had to sell assets, and everything that you go through during that process. I found another job at a small company for about 6 months, but that wasn't getting anywhere, and actually my wife made the mistake of asking me what I'd like to do one day, and I said, well, I'd like to work in a park. And the town that I grew up in, Forney, was a very small town, but during this period, 2001 to 2005, was in its biggest growth spurt ever. We tripled in population over this time.
Hmm.
And Forney started a park department. And I went from making near six figures down to making $10 an hour, being the first park employee in Forney. And am now the director of parks there. So it worked out.
Okay, great. So what brings you to the desert? Are you vacationing or business?
Yeah, my family and I are here on vacation. My daughter was visiting. She had a college softball teammate from Bakersfield, and she was here. She's been here all week, staying with her, and then we just drove up on Monday. We're going to stay another week and go around Southern California, and that's how we got here.
Okay. Well, tell us, where did you meet your wife? Was meet her after you were in the military or before?
I was in the military. I mean, she'll get a kick. She had a boyfriend at the time in 1984, 85 time frame. She was actually still in high school, and I had bought a new truck, and her boyfriend was looking at my truck, and that's how we met. We didn't actually date until after I got out of the Navy in '86.
Okay, so she still remembered you.
She remembers the truck. She doesn't remember me that much. So.
Okay. That must have been a good truck. And you have what, two children now?
We got Dana and I got married in 1989. Had Caitlin, our daughter, in December of '91, and Grayson, our son, in October of '97.
Okay. And she's playing softball?
Softball.
Yeah. And how about your son? Is he interested in the military too, or?
I think so. I don't know if he's interested in the Navy. He's always talking about either the Army or Air Force, sometimes Marines. But he's probably going to be an engineering type.
Okay.
So we'll just wait and see. I'm not pushing him
Okay.
either way.
Well, great. Okay. Well, any other areas you'd like to cover? Any messages? We'll be sending you a copy of this for your family to enjoy over the years. So,
Yeah, no, I really don't have any. Again, I was kind of unprepared for this whole thing. I didn't know it was that this project was going on. If I wanted to do it, but I would have probably wanted to prepare and write down, some of the notes and things of that nature, and to make sure everything's right and accurate. And some of the things that I did do that were pertinent were brought up. But it's, that's pretty much it, I guess.
okay. Well, we thank you for sharing your experiences with us today, and
You're welcome.
we also thank you for your service to the country. And